Hopefully you can hear me now. That is better. Okay, so today through the day on Monday or Tuesday rather, we are looking at a first alert weather day. We'll come back here and talk about it again. We're watching out for rain. We're watching out even a couple of thunderstorms detected in some places in the valley. And then in addition to that, we also have the wind associated with it too. And there may be just enough cold air in this system to drive in a little bit of snow mixed in with the rain. I'm not concerned about accumulation, but still, don't be surprised if you see it in some parts of the valley over the course of the next 24 hours. So now let's get down to it here. So here's a look at what we can expect. It's a first alert weather day through Tuesday afternoon. Our latest alert has to do with the wind. We have a wind advisory that's in effect today through 7 a.m. on Tuesday, tomorrow morning, for our part of the viewing area. And a couple of things to point out here is the James River Valley area. This is already in effect for places like Valley City, like Lisbon, kind of in the east. This takes effect at 1 o'clock this afternoon because the winds are going to increase from west to east. It's a staggered start to this alert. We're looking out for some wind gusts more to the east in the 40s, but over toward the James River Valley and points west, that's where we could see some gusts getting into that 50-plus range. That could lead to some difficult driving for high-profile vehicles and blowing loose objects that aren't tied down. We know the drill around here. And then this deeper teal color here, that's a high wind warning, just a heads up if you're heading in that direction. That's outside of our viewing area, but still, if you're heading out toward Dickinson and Williston, that's where we're looking at that being a possibility. So I'm just going to zoom over here just so you can see where that's located. We'll zoom out too to show you that this covers a good portion of the Dakotas, both the North Dakota and South Dakota here. Okay, so that's the latest alert. I do want to concentrate on rain because that's what's affecting more of us for the moment, and then we'll get back to wind. This is Fargo. We're looking west along I-94 on the Corwin Cam in South Fargo, and you can see it's looking pretty gray, pretty dark in the distance. That's where we're seeing some rain moving into the area. So looking at our latest update from some of our DOT cams. Devil's Lake's an area that's been seeing some rain quite a bit since this morning. You can see wet roads there. Actually looks like it might have improved a little bit there. Still on the soggy side as far as our fields and the roads. New Rockford looks a little bit better as well. These are cameras I've been tracking all morning. Definitely getting some rain west of Cavalier. You can see the road spray there from that vehicle that is driving westbound down Highway 5 there. So again, looking at some areas where we are getting some rain for sure. So Northern Valley and points to the west is where the focus has been, but this line continues to move eastward. So as I mentioned, you can see that Devil's Lake's looking a little bit better here, both along the lake and in town and just east. That rain's easing up. The New Rockford area as well. Jamestown's starting to quiet down. So now more parts of eastern North Dakota, and then this will roll eastward into Minnesota as we go through time. Let's zoom in on some of these locations. Grand Forks looks like we're getting a nice steady shower going on at the moment. We're also seeing some rain back up toward New Fulton and areas like Crookston as well, just kind of right on the edge of the rain at the moment, but that will continue to make its way through. And then stretching back up to Cavalier where we saw that rain coming down as well. And I'm just taking a look here. Let's see. I'm going to pull up our Skycam for Grand Forks just to check in on how things are looking there. And okay, looks like we've got some rain. We'll pull that up for you here. We're definitely seeing some rain in the Grand Forks area. You can see the raindrops on the camera from UND, Aerospace, the Department of Atmospheric Science. Definitely picking up some rain in Grand Forks as we speak. And that's definitely, how many times can I say definitely here? That is obviously going on our radar as well this morning. So looking at conditions that are going to be on that soggy side, basically, as long as this is moving through. Let's move south. There is a little bit of rain just toward Castleton, and so affecting places along Highway 18 in Cass County, over the Mayville radar site, back to Valley City, and Fargo, just kind of right on the edge of this rain. So this is going to move in shortly. Let me zoom in a little bit more on that area. So yeah, Castleton, Maple River, Hunter, Arthur area, Mena, definitely seeing that rain starting to move in. I'm sorry, I keep saying definitely. I'm stuck on that word here this morning. And then just all the way down Highway 18 toward Leonard, definitely getting some rain. And then as we expand the view, you can see Tower City back to Valley City. It's becoming funny at this point. We're seeing those showers going on. So this will continue sliding east. I'm going to put this into motion because we did have some lightning. I wonder if it'll show that for us here. Yes, so we had some lightning for a time just to the southwest of Hillsborough and Trail County toward Blanchard, Galesburg, Clifford, northern parts of Cass County, Hunter. You might have heard a rumble of thunder. So I can't rule that out being a possibility here as we continue on through the day and as this continues to slide eastward. So you can see the movement, again, this line going to sweep essentially west to east. And so at some point in the next couple of hours, we'll clear out eastern North Dakota and places in Minnesota that are currently quiet. We'll see some rain, places like Detroit Lakes and Bemidji here this morning. Okay, so let's move on. Let's take a look at our visibility. Of course, where it's raining, we expect to see visibility that is down. That is the case here, as you see on our map, that we've got visibility that is down to 1.2 miles in Grafton. We're looking at visibility that is into the 4-mile range in the Cavalier area, and conditions there that are going to be on that lower end anywhere where we have rain again. And now let's talk about wind. That is starting to pick up. You can see it's variable, the direction where it's coming from at the moment. And we're seeing some gusts into the 20s, a lot of 25s on the map in the valley. Alexandria, Jamestown, Devils Lake, all reporting gusts in the mid-20s out of different directions. In general, we'll see that wind shift to a more northwesterly direction as time goes on. I'm going to zip over to the west, and you can see we've got some gusts into the 30s in Bismarck and in Minot. So we'll see that increase for us too as time goes on. A gust to 35 in Regina as well. So getting windy out there today. Here's a look at our wind gust forecast for Fargo specifically. You can see as we make our way into the afternoon, we'll see those winds pick up, gusting into the 30s, and then that stays up into the late night hours for tonight. There might be a time where the gusts come down slightly, but they'll pick back up into tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at that in our wind gust planner. So the numbers that you see on the map here are your wind gusts in miles per hour. So as we work our way through the day today, you can see by 5 o'clock, we've got areas where we've got gusts into the 30s in eastern North Dakota, into west central Minnesota as well. Bismarck, there's that 49-mile-per-hour gust there. So definitely the wind is going to be strongest in central North Dakota and points to the west. But we'll get in on some of that as well in the eastern part of the state. As we go through time into tonight, you can see more gusts approaching 40 miles per hour. And we'll likely top that in lots of locations in our western communities heading into tonight. Now moving into the overnight hours, the wind field starts to shift eastward. So this is 4:30 in the morning, starting the valley today at that time tomorrow morning. I'll be tracking the wind and leftover precip as well. We'll show you that in just a moment. But this is when some of us might see some of our strongest winds in Minnesota. It might take a while, but eventually we'll see some gusts getting into the 30s for places in Minnesota heading into Tuesday morning, continuing on into the day as the low moves eastward and the wind field shifts with it. So by 1 o'clock, we're starting to quiet down out west tomorrow afternoon. But over to the east, we're getting those gusts into the 30s out of the north or northwest with this system. So that continues moving on and will eventually quiet things down heading into Tuesday night. The question is, one thing I meant to show you, I'm actually going to go back here because this will be something to watch. We have to click through this graphic again. So we'll go over it again, might as well. So again, we're looking at wind strongest today in central North Dakota. But as we move into the overnight hours tonight, that wind shift will the wind will shift itself over the valley. So again, tomorrow morning, starting off with some strong gusts in the Central Valley and western North Dakota, and then that wind continues moving east into Minnesota into the evening hours. Now, I didn't click through this all the way. I moved past it, and I want to show you our wind heading into the overnight hours because we actually want that to stay up a little bit because we're going to clear out Tuesday night. That'll be great for a comet viewing. If you remember Friday, I talked about viewing the comet. There's 2 comets out there actually. And just quickly, I went out comet viewing. I was in central North Dakota over the weekend, and we had clear skies there, and it was a beautiful night, lots of stars. But the brightest comet still wasn't quite visible. It was, but we had to take out the binoculars, and it was still very faint. Well, tomorrow night's going to be the night that it's brightest, and we'll get to see it through the rest of the month. So I'm hoping we'll get better viewing for it. So I think we'll have clear skies, but it's going to be chilly. And so what I wanted to talk about here with the winds is when we see those winds ease up, like they're doing in the overnight hours. This is Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. That allows the air to settle, and it allows it to cool at a lot faster rate, down closer to the dew point temperature, whatever that may be. And we're looking at winds really easing up. And so places like Fargo, we haven't seen our freeze yet this season. And so that might be a morning, Wednesday morning, when we see our freeze. Jamestown's been one of those places too that's been relatively mild. So we're going to be watching for Wednesday morning. A reminder, both the National Weather Service offices in Grand Forks and Bismarck are no longer issuing frost and freeze warnings. So you won't get that warning to alert you that there may be a freeze going on overnight Tuesday night and into early Wednesday. Just a heads up about that. We'll talk about that again tomorrow. Now, moving on, we're going to go back and take a look at the rain chances now. We talked about the wind there. Let's take a look at our hour-by-hour planner with the rain. You can see it moving through the noon hour right over the heart of the valley. Grand Forks, Fargo, we'll see this sweep through. Moving on, in fact, we're seeing it already approaching the Fargo area right now. Moving on into the 4 o'clock hour today, you can see that most of the rain is more concentrated at that point in the northwestern part of Minnesota. So looking at that being the area of focus for the potential for rain as you're getting off of work, heading home from school tomorrow, or excuse me, this afternoon. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So that's an area that may be kind of dealing with rain for a while. The rest of us get into a relative lull into the late afternoon and into the early evening, but you can see what's happening here by 8 o'clock. We're getting that wraparound precipitation. It's not as widespread, but it's more scattered or isolated, but it's still there. And you may notice this, the blue showing up on the map. If you haven't seen that before, that's snow that our forecast model is indicating based on what the temperature profile is looking like at that point in time. We're going to have that colder air moving in out of the north. And so when we get this colder air rushing in, that starts to introduce cold air throughout the column, throughout the, at the surface and aloft. And that allows precipitation to stay as snow if this happens. So this is just something to bear in mind, that you might see a flake or two as that colder air rushes in behind the low. You may see a little bit of that mix over to some flakes, or maybe even just some sleet happening within the rain showers that we're getting at that point. This is 4:30 tomorrow morning again, when the wind is picking back up for a lot of places. So kind of a raw, unpleasant morning, especially in those spots where we are still getting precipitation. You can see some blue on the map. Might get more interesting over toward International Falls. You can see that's where that blue is a little more deeper, indicating heavier snowfall rates. So that'll be an area to watch heading into tomorrow morning. But right now for us, I'm more concerned about just seeing some flakes embedded in these rain chances. So our rainfall through Tuesday, this is in addition to what we've seen. You can see there are some places that north of Highway 2 essentially, in the green, that could get more than a ½ inch of rain with this system, maybe up to an inch, we'll see with this one, with the rain that just kind of stays going up in the northeastern part of our viewing area. So just a quick look at our planner again. We're looking at conditions that are cooler today. We're at 48 degrees in Fargo. Wind is out of the north at 15. That's going to be picking up. And we're watching for that rain to move into the FM area on our sky cam here. And you can see that temperatures, it looks a little more dramatic here, but really we're not looking at much rise in our temperatures. We're at 48 now. And then by the time we get into the afternoon, we're looking at a high of about 51. So that's it. So a cool day. There's going to be a wind chill factor. And we're looking out for that next round of rain midday in Fargo. And that could move in at any moment. So that's going to start up for us here pretty quickly. And then as we take a look at the entire valley, we are seeing conditions that are going to be on the cool side everywhere. Upper 40s to some low 50s for your highs coming up this morning. Now, let's see here. As we head into the 11-day planner, we are looking at Again, first alert weather days today and tomorrow. Once that wind eases up, we'll drop the first alert weather day. That may not happen until late afternoon. But you can see much cooler temperatures. And then what I wanted to point out was the 30-degree temperature for Wednesday, our forecast low in Fargo. If we reach that, that'll be the lowest temperature we've seen so far this season. So watching that closely. We do have some sunshine on the way for the rest of the week. So the second half of the week looks fantastic. And temperatures will be into the 60s by the time we get into the end of the week. So we make a nice little recovery here. This weekend, Saturday does look to be the nicer day of the two if you want to avoid precip and wind. And so I think that you might like that. So we're looking at Saturday being the drier day. So if you've got, some plans you want to do outdoors, Saturday may be your day. Still, several days away, so check back with us for any changes in that forecast. But right now, Sunday brings a chance for some showers, and it looks unsettled into next week. Next week's the week of Halloween, and so we don't quite have it in the 11-day planner right now. When you tune into the newscast as we head into this afternoon and evening, starting at 4 o'clock, we'll have an early look at your Halloween forecast in the 11-day planner. Leading up to it, it is looking a little bit cooler right now. Still 11 days away, 11 plus days away, but it is looking to be, slightly cooler or a lot cooler in comparison to the way we started the month. So be prepared for that. No surprise, we know Halloween can be chilly around here, so we'll see what happens as we get closer, but we'll give you a better outlook on your Halloween forecast coming up later today. And just keep in mind it is going to be cooler next week. We've got some nice weather ahead of us on Friday. Looks pretty good. High of 65, mostly sunny skies. And so today, just keep in mind we've got first alert weather days today and tomorrow. We're tracking rain moving through the valley right now, including rain that's right on the doorstep of the FM area, so be ready for some showers for lunch break. And watch out for the wind, too. That's going to be a factor as we work our way through the forecast. For some of us, it may not be till tomorrow in our eastern viewing area, but for some of us, we're already seeing those gusts getting going, and we'll see those wind gusts getting into the 30s for a lot of places over the course of the next 2 days. So have your rain boots on, have your raincoat. You probably don't want the umbrella because it's going to be on the windy side. The umbrella, unless you've got one of those really industrial umbrellas that can stand up to the wind. Otherwise, it's probably better to do the raincoat or the poncho if you're going to be outside here the next couple of days. And stay warm, too. Put a layer or two under that with the wind chill factor, and temperatures not warming up much at all. So I hope you're having a great Monday. We'll have, again, your Halloween forecast coming up later this afternoon and evening. And tomorrow, I'll talk more about the potential for temperatures to get pretty chilly overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday, and I'll also talk more about the comet as well. Tonight won't be great viewing because of the clouds, but tomorrow skies will be clearing, and we'll check in on how that's looking for anybody who's interested in sky watching here this week. Okay, have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.